Okay, good morning, and I'd like to introduce you to my medium fidelity application. This is for the RainBird project, and if you read the paper, you noticed it was a hardwire interface on the exterior of the house, and through the need finding and design alternative process, gained a lot of feedback, and that resulted in some analysis that designed a mobile application. So quickly go through the application and how it works. So what you will see over here is once the user downloads and opens the application, similar to any other mobile app where you have an account, you'll register with the username and password and then hit log in. Okay. Then the main screen here, very simplistic in its design, with a face with some functions I'll talk through, and then a navigation bar which outlines some additional features. So what we have is, looking at the gulf of evaluation. Through the analysis, one thing that we developed or identified was that people didn't understand what timers were set. So as soon as you log on, you get to see which timers are active. So in this case, there are two timers, one for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which zones, and then what days of the week. So here you see two, and then here's another option where you see zones all, and I'll talk about that. Users can quickly delete the timer and shut it off, or if they want to go in and edit, they can hit modify. So very simplistic design, as well as helping educate users on the capabilities of the interface. Secondly, as my anecdote with my problem space is the fact that I could be somewhere and I need to shut my sprinkler system off, and I have to go outside currently to shut it off. And usually the sprinklers are on, so you get wet. So there's a button here where it would be an emergency shut off to where I can shut that off and the sprinklers go. So I can let my dog out or my kids can go to school. We'll talk about setting up zones, but initially users will need to set up their sprinkler system zones working with their contractor, or if they know how to do it. And then instructional guides. It's one thing that with a hard wire frame or interface, you need a pamphlet that has instructions, and those two aren't located in the same spot. With this mobile application, they would be right there, and it would really walk you through the steps of each one of these features on the application. Based on feedback, an ability to quickly manually set the timer, where's the hardwire device, you had to go in, you hit the timer, you had to scroll through the day of the week, use the arrow plus minus buttons to set the timer, and then do that for each individual day. So the gulf of execution was pretty lengthy process. And so I try to shorten that with, a simple one-page interface. So users would go, select on or off. So in this case, very common button, select on, it would show off. So it'd be an indicator to the user to hit that, it would go to on. These displays would show up here, and really two questions. How long should I set the timer and what zone? So 15 minutes, and I want all the zones, and then I hit start. Once I hit start, it will automatically take me back to this initial, and then you'll see the timer here on the current timers. So the gulf of evaluation, you would be able to quickly see that your timers are set, and then if you needed to modify or delete, you could do so. When it comes into setting long-term timers, we felt that that was a separate feature, really the same kind of design. So previously, you had to set each individual day. In this case, really the application walks the user through. So if you're a beginner to this, it kind of interacts with the user, kind of creating that invisible interface. So what days should I water? Then I select Wednesday and Saturday, and those show up. So a little bit of a confirmation here. I can visually see what days, what zone should I water? And this is the one feature that really we wanted to add, the all. So instead of going into one and setting the day, day 2, we just hit all zones, and then that will reduce the redundancy in the action, and then similar to the previous one, set the timer. So a little bit of consistency with the touchscreen interface here on the application. The user would hit save. To avoid slips and mistakes, if a user wants to exit, similar to the previous one, you got the 2 cancel buttons here that will take you back to the original interface. One thing that I thought was pretty cool and that we talked about is the zone. So one of the feedback that we received, or that I received, I keep saying we, that I received is, what zones? And I had no idea what zones were mine. So we created a separate feature here. Where, as you can see, use my house, and this is kind of the design of mine. So users could upload a photo of aerial view of their house, and then work through the different zones. Now, understanding that this would need some help with your contractor, the installation of the sprinklers, but the zones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. Now, as far as customization goes, we know that each user is different in their thought process, and we wanted to make that customizable. So I did mine in a clockwise fashion, with zone 1 being the front yard, because that's what I think of first, with a name. So I can name these front. My neighbor has a pink house, so I put pink house front. I have a little garden back here, so garden, that fence. Side bushes, I have a lot of bushes over here, and then oak tree, there's a big oak tree. So I can personalize these zones to what I understand the layout to be. So it goes to the point of recognition rather than recall, and I can quickly recognize these zones. So I can customize and then hit save. Now, once I customize these zones, when I go back to set my timers, I have some options here. Rather than having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I could have front yard, pink house front, and then that would really help me understand where my zones are and eliminate that confusion. If I just wanted to, water the front yard and my garden, I could do that pretty quickly without having to try to think of, what zones number correlate to what part of the house. So that is my mobile application. This will be part of my evaluation plan. This video and the similar explanation